Hello. Hello everyone, can you hear us? I think we should get the microphone a little bit closer.
Hello!
Hello people.
Welcome to the stream, folks.
Welcome. So, can they actually hear us?
Can we have a quick AV check?
Yes.
I'm going to be looking over here because we've got the chat on a separate machine today. So if I look over this way, it's because I'm looking at the chat, not because I'm ignoring you or checking my phone or anything like that. Yes. Loud and clear, audio good. Can you hear the game? I guess there should be music playing on the game. Yeah. Can you hear that? Okay. It looks like it's going through okay. The bars are bouncing around.
I wonder if we can get this monitor a little bit closer.
Yeah, I was wondering about that earlier on, but not without moving the PC, the lamp and everything else.
Yeah.
If I move it there, at least it's slightly better.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea is we don't want to lose restream chat again like we did previously. It just kept crashing for us, so we're hoping that this will make things a little bit easier. But anyway, welcome to the stream. So this is the first stream dedicated to BR Heavy Freight launch. I mean, many of you have already played it, so it's not going to be anything new for some of you. But for those who are still not sure and just want to see, I can't believe you just. We are more like this.
I just moved the monitor over.
He's right in our face, but at least we can see everything.
I got full screen chat.
Game audio is faint. Let me check.
Game audio doesn't seem to be on.
Is it not?
Scroll up. It's certainly showing the bars.
It's definitely showing. Yeah, it seems to be.
Click back over onto the game. I mean, it might be quiet at this point actually. So why don't you? Let's get started and we can adjust the volume as we go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's begin. So we're gonna run a couple of scenarios today. Not scenarios, services, to make sure that we just show you what's new. New wagons, for example. So
before we go in there, let me just give you a brief overview of the kinds of services. So some of the services have got the NH start on the beginning. Those are Newton Heath locos. RB are Red Bank locos. The HUD ones are Huddersfield locos. So there's effectively 08s at various places around the route doing various things, and you effectively around the Manchester area. You're mostly going to be moving around the BG coaches, and around the Huddersfield area, it's mixed, assorted, sort of transiting, dealing with trains actually that are coming through the station. And someone said please turn down. I'm going to scroll down. Let's have a look at the volume of the microphone. And there's also the vans being used. Yeah, that's too loud. Yeah. There's also vans being used for depot moves. So the vans, you'll assort some vans around in Newton Heath, and you'll later on take them up to Red Bank, swap them for some other vans, and bring them back down to Newton Heath. And then you'll take vans up along the line. So there's all sorts of different things. There's quite a large variety of stuff that you'll be doing. In addition to new services on the 08, there's actually new services on what I'm going to just call the blue locos, which includes the 40, but is also including the 47 and the 45. For example, there's a service where you shunt together a big rake of 14 BG coaches, and then you bring that using the 08 into Manchester Victoria. Then over in Newton Heath, a locomotive, which can be 47, 45 or 40, will travel across to Manchester Victoria, couple up to them and drive it a length of the route. So there's other new full-length services, there's other new shunting services, as well as those additional services that the 40 has got for the new TEA wagons. And the 47, the 45 or the 40 can do those as well. So you've got quite a bit of variety there. Are there any extensions on the map? No, the map is unchanged, but you're using areas you couldn't use before. Is that the season you intended to use?
No, I think this is spring. It's 5 a.m. service, so it is dark.
It does raise a good point, actually. So the way that the services are timed, I've put them around where we put them around where the sweet spot is. So that if you run the services in different seasons, so summer, spring, winter, then the early day services will vary. So at winter they'll be pitch black, and then in the summer they're almost broad daylight. So you can kind of choose how dark you want those early ones to be by just changing the season that you pick.
Yeah, this is better.
That's better. So same service, just at the same time of day, but a different season. And there we have the Blue Grok. It's functionally identical to the one in Tees Valley, but it has got a slightly different livery. It doesn't have the red soul bar on the bottom, and it doesn't have the logo on the side for I think it's a kingfisher on the Darlington one. So in this service, we're going to be. This is one of the early services, and we're going to be. Is this the one where we take the wagons up to Red Bank?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to take cut together two rakes of wagons of the little standard vans, and we're going to take them up to Red Bank. Was making the newspaper train a morning service instead of the historical night service an artistic decision? Pretty much, Scott M, because it was pitch black and you couldn't see anything. So we changed the time of day so that, again, if you do that newspaper train in the winter, it'll probably be you'll get that sort of that nighttime effect.
How's the sound, guys?
Yeah, you hearing the sound now? Sound is good.
Okay,
Excellent.
good.
Sim's okay. Excellent.
How's everyone doing today? Have you actually played this yet? And if you have, please do let us know how you're finding it, and also let us know about the Tees Valley, because it's been quite a while since the release now, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we are very happy with how it is, and we would like to hear a bit more from you.
One other little tip for the 08. The 08 is capable of both air and vacuum, and as well as a switch on the back wall that switches between the air and the vacuum braking systems. There is actually, if you switch from vacuum to air, it only applies in this direction. There's an extra lever you have to pull in the cab to vent the vacuum chambers. Maybe next time we're in the cab, we'll get Dimitri to point us at it so that you can see where it is. So if you're switching to air, you just switch the lever over and it's easy. If you're switching to vacuum, you just switch the lever over and wait for the vacuum to build. If you switch over to air, then you have to vent the brakes as well. The vans are vacuum, correct. The BG coaches can be used either air or vacuum, but the default to air. Hey there, 822 Steam. Managed a couple of days on Tees Valley, but now away from home till next week. Both on your playlist. Excellent. Amar says he got the brakes wrong and nearly failed to get a load of TEAs up the hill. That was embarrassing. So I'm just sharing that with everybody to help boost the signal on that one. Tackle wagons are very heavy, yep, they're 100 tons apiece, if I remember rightly, Stubby. Mole Junction, a DTG and crew tomorrow. DTG aren't in crew, but I will be. Along with a couple of others that are just going on as visitors. So, yes, if you do pop along, if you are going to be at crew, then if you see me, come and say hello. I'm just going to be wandering around. There? So crew tomorrow are having a charity open day where they've got a massive selection of trains they've put together, and it's just walking around the depot and seeing all these trains. I mean, obviously the most important thing is there's going to be a pacer there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm just going to be probably near the pacer. Well, they brought there's steam engines, diesels. There's a Pendolino. There's a Voyage. There's lots of stuff going to be there. So
that's great. And
I think there's 1 or 2 Groks as well. And
is it a full day or is it a couple of days?
Oh, full. Which one day? It's 1 day. Gillingham and Gus, the TA's map option locks up the game. Give it a bit of time. Sometimes I think we've found on some cases the map can take 10 or 15 seconds to come up on consoles. It is one of the things that on our watch list to go and try and find out what's going on there. Electrics will be coming at some point, Electrostar. No plans to share at the moment. Steam will be coming at some point as well, Tommy Madsen.
At some point.
At some point.
I bet everyone's really excited about the Switcher announcement.
Yeah, what do you think of the Switcher announcement, folks? NS8098 fan. All of those things probably will come at some point in the fullness of time, but will we get the pacer in game for NTPT's Valley? Hopefully at some point, Trooper Gaming. I'd certainly like to see that. Could you introduce cross-compatibility that console players be able to use the editor? Epic Games, people who make Unreal, have never made the editor compatible with the console. It just would never work on a console. So that's why the editor doesn't work on the console. I mean, if Epic were to make a change somehow and figure out a way of making work on a console, then maybe that might be a possibility. But I don't see that happening. The editor is a very complex beast. The minimum spec for the editor is about the recommended spec for the game. There's no plans to update GWR mainline at the moment, DJ Unknowns. There's lots of you asking, will there be a such and such in the future? And what I'll do is I'll answer you all in one here. Can't talk about anything that hasn't been announced. As and when things are announced, then we'll be excited to talk to you about it. Until that time, it's just speculation and could be more confusing than anything else. Yes, Matt is alive, Mickey. Approaching red light.
No, we're fine.
Okay. I didn't see you sneak that brake on. It was always planned to do freight separately, Felonious, and we hadn't even started the freight before the NTP pack came out. There's only so much you can put in a pack without making the pack have to be a lot more expensive. So it's a case of you can either do a little tiny bit of everything and do nothing well, or make the NTP pack passenger and then come out with some supporting freight as another pack, and then you end up with a decent experience across the two packs. Trying to get the hang of the brakes, vacuum versus air on the Class 40. One neat little trick, by the way, that everyone can try is when you're doing a service that's got BGs, you can run it in either air or vacuum. So try switching the system over to using vacuum brakes. If you do that, then what you'll need to do is go down to everything on the all the BGs and pull the cord to vent or the cylinders on them, and then they could switch over, and then you can use vacuum brake. It's quite a different driving experience because the vacuum brakes work quite differently. How many new routes locos are in development at the moment? A few. Hey, LeShark, how's it going? Bit of freight bag madness going on. Oh, look, professional. Will Steam Locos be coming to TSW at some point? There's no more details on that at the moment.
Yeah, this one, I kept crashing into it.
Yeah, you just have to wait for him
But
to...
it's dangerous, you know, when I'm holding something like this. It is dangerous. I can't see him fully. I mean, obviously I'm not a professional, but I would say it's quite dangerous. Where is he?
He goes to the thing and then pulls back, so you've got a little bit of room you can pull forward. Is there a cab light for the GP38 on NEC? There should be. If you look up on the wall about there somewhere, there's usually a switch. See you later, Shark. In TSW, do you have steam trims? No, not yet. At some point in the future. Will it eventually be possible to run anything anywhere, such as CSX on GWE? That kind of thing will come when the editor comes out. Then you can just put anything you like on the editor. I'm not sure how that works its way onto consoles, but rest assured it's something we're thinking about. Bus Driver GP, the editor seems to have gone quiet. Is it still being worked on? Yes, we're just all very, very busy at the moment. That's one of the reasons there's not been any studio update articles. I think I'm at least 1 or 2 behind now. So, yeah, apologies for that, but it's just because everyone is absolutely flat out busy getting this content out to you. That's it, and then we're on the line up to Red Bank.
So using air brakes here would sort of overuse brakes, right? If we're driving here.
Yeah, at this point I would
1.6
use your main train brakes, not use your loco brakes. Britannica, I don't know. You're talking about things which haven't been designed yet. So there's lots of possibles on the table. There's lots of discussions being had about these things. It's just finding the right time to do things. Obviously, there's only a finite number of people. So Den Basta Dilfred has asked if you can only get one, would you recommend the Tees Valley line or the Northern Transpennine? What do you think, folks? Both. Yeah, there you go. Moggy's recommending NTP. Another recommendation from Northern Transpennine. They are very it's difficult, isn't it, Matthew? There's lots of different options. And you know what? It's lovely having a tractor in the game finally. Both packs, obviously. If you get Northern Transpennine with this freight pack, you've got a Gronk in there as well, and the Gronk comes with Tees Valley.
I admit it has become more lively. New pack. It definitely feels more lively. There's so much to do. It feels like the full potential of the route has been opened up.
Certainly an increased potential. I wouldn't go as far as to say the full potential, but yes, it does feel like you're using a substantial more amount of the route now. You can do a lots more variety of operations than you could previously. Good time to show the cab line. There is a bundle deal at the moment, isn't there, on Northern Transpennine and the freight pack?
Yes, there is one, and you will get 20% off the price. So if you go for a bundle, but obviously, if you do not already have the NCB route, otherwise there is no discount.
How's the implementation of other locos and other routes going? I mean, that's already happening. The German routes have got it all over the place. It's finding the right opportunities to make those things happen, and getting through some of the technical. So the reason, for example, that you can't use the Leeds locos on West Somerset is because their brakes are not compatible by default. So, but we are getting a system in place which actually is working on Leeds now. Where you can specify when you set a train on when you define a service, you can say this is a service that runs vacuum brakes, this is a service that runs air brakes, and then the train and the wagons and etc. will listen to that and then set themselves up accordingly. So at some point it'd be nice to get that tech moved on to West Somerset so that we can then bring that. But I don't know there's no plans at the moment to do that we can talk about. But things are moving in the right direction. Will the SW1000R have access equipment? No, it doesn't leave the yard. It just tootles about in Sunnyside Yard. What's the difference between passenger and goods versions of the braking options for Ionix? So it's down to how fast the brakes apply. So passenger will apply the brakes more quickly. So effectively, by apply the brakes, what I mean is change how fast it changes the brake pipe or the vacuum brake. A goods option will change it more slowly. The reason for this is if you've got a long train with a long train of these short wheelbase wagons or something like that, when you make a change to the air pressure, it's going to take longer for that change to traverse to, air pressure is like a wave that goes down the train, and it's going to take longer for that to take effect down the back of the train. And what you can end up with is if you use passenger brake mode on a train like that, you end up with uneven braking. So some of the wagons might not be doing any braking, some of them are doing braking. You might get slips, drags, coupling braking in the real world at least, and all sorts of things. And it just becomes a bit more unwieldy to control. So you switch to the goods mode, and that all it literally does is slow that brake change down so that the wave becomes slightly more even down the length of the train and your braking remains even. It does mean that you need to think more ahead, but it does make the train somewhat more controllable. The 12-ton wagons are the cutest little wagons you've ever seen. They're nice, aren't they? Once you've stopped here, if you can just go back into the cab once you complete that stop. If you get out of the train, I don't know if anybody's played with this at all. You just jump out and then go down to your wagons. Maybe go the other side so we can see it. The sun's down. We're in the shadow on the side. Then go up to one of the doors.
Okay.
Go a bit closer so you use the key.
Key?
There's like that's it. And now you can click on the door.
I don't know.
And then if you walk up to it, you can climb in. I mean, it's pretty pointless, to be honest, but it's good fun. Doesn't really serve any purpose, but anyway, I'll let you carry on with your scenario.
It's done. It's finished.
Now you've got to back up the coach, the wagons into the yard.
Yeah.
So a short or light freight train, you'd use the passenger option without too much negative effect? Probably, yeah. Why can't you uncouple carriages on GWR? Because the HSTs are fixed sets, and at that point we didn't have them able to be uncoupled. There was no need for them to be uncoupled, particularly at that point either. You can uncouple, for example, 166s that are running in 2 pair. You can uncouple those. The uncouple option works. I can't talk about possible future things to the Pi train because who knows what the future brings. If you use the wrong brake, will you get troublesome trucks? If you use the wrong brake, generally you can't release the brakes. You're just not going to get anywhere. Well, console of the HST shorter. At the time it was a performance thing. I don't know if that still needs to be the case, so it's something we need to re-benchmark at some point. An ambitious route would be King's Cross to Edinburgh. It would be more than ambitious. I mean, it would take several years to make and it would probably have to go on sale for several £100s. Did this DLC introduce changes to the existing NTP service mode? That has to be kind of implicit, Thelonious, because there's new services going on. So the actual service mode functionally is identical, but the services are now running at different timings because there's other services been slotted in and around them. But functionally, there are no extra services on there. The new layer brings in services for both the 08 and services that the big blue trains can use. Will you make TSW available for PS5 when it comes out? I guess we'll wait and see what happens when PS5 comes out. At this point, it's way too early. I have no idea anything about PS5.
Apart from it's been announced.
It's been announced, but I don't know what we would do about it yet. I'd like to, obviously. Big fan of PlayStation and the Xbox these days.
Are you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been a long time fan of the Xbox. I've had Xbox since they launched in the UK, pretty much. But I had a PS3, and didn't do an awful lot with it, but I was massively into the PS4.
So what is it that attracts you, especially compared?
The biggest thing I like about consoles versus PC is I plug them in and I just start playing games. It just get up and go, and it's really it's just easy. It's quite a chilled experience. So I just like it. And not only that, all the games are tuned to run on the console, and they're tuned to run with that controller. So you haven't got to learn the myriad of keys. But then obviously on the PC you can do so much more. So it's sort of swings and roundabouts, really.
Oof. Okay. Okay, never mind. I panicked for a second.
Yeah. 100-mile HST route would be very cool. Yes, agreed. Can you discuss the difference between all the big blue trains? I can't remember all the exact technical specs. If you Wikipedia them, felonious. A 45 is very similar to a 47 internally, and the 40 is only 2,000 horsepower. I think the 47 is something like 3,000 horsepower. And the 37 I think it's about 2,500 or 2,300 horsepower, just to put them in. The 40, you think the 40 was a big, beefy, powerful loco, but actually it's probably the weakest of the lot, which just makes it all the more fun getting up the hill with the TEA tankers. Lewin, you've got a book, have you? Oh, I quickly glanced over the details, but... Will there ever be a fix for motion blur on console? It's something we're definitely looking into. The PC users motion blur it's really only on the wheels that it's a problem. Everywhere else it actually improves the way that it looks quite considerably, but it's on the wheels it does look like it has room for improvement, shall we say. The 0809, not sure if it was redone from scratch. The 08 was built out of the 09 model, but there was an awful lot of work done on it. Spurs Reading, there's no double header 40s on passenger trains, no. There's the double header 40 on, you get to change his weight, didn't you?
Okay.
That was the end anyway.
That was
the end anyway. It's just fine. No one saw that.
No one saw that. There was a blip on the screen.
Yeah, what there is there's a manual point just before that junction to go the other way into the yard, where you stay in the yard. Whereas the way you were going, you go out of the yard and back in the yard again, technically.
Okay, so what are we doing next? We're doing class 40, aren't we?
Yeah, class 40. Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous.
I love it.
Well, I'm glad you're doing this variant as well, because I can show you something else that's really cool. I don't know if anyone noticed this either.
What? Sorry?
I'll show you that. I'll show you the destination codes.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't explored that. So
there you go. Manchester to Leeds, loaded all. No, we're not going to go all the way to Leeds on this one.
Yeah.
But we're going to show you the fun bit up the hill. Lure and Darks, if you've got finding any issues, raise a support ticket is the best way to sort that out. Right, before we get going, if you want to just jump out the cab, look around the front. Right, if you go a bit closer, and now hover over the white discs. If you click and drag, you can make the discs. Then you can light up the different discs that you want, and then the separate controls in the cab for turning the lights on and off. So you can choose what discs you want, and then light the lights up accordingly to go with it, which is an exceptionally cool feature.
Cool. So which ones do we need?
That'll do as it stands, to be honest. They weren't really used so much at this point.
How does it look like, guys? What do you think? It looks great. Alright, let's get going.
So you want the lower left marker and the lower right marker.
Right, okay.
I think the other one is actually underneath the blind. If you just lower the blind briefly, I think it's that one on the end is lower right. So if you turn off the lower centre, that's it. That's your lights on the front done.
Cab light, tail light, instrument. Okay, so we're done. Master key. We need brakes.
Air brake goods is the correct one. Brakes are slowly coming off. That's part of the fact that they're in goods. What it means is that more likely once it's off in the loco, it's actually probably off on the rest of the train, and you'll see the power coming on and the train moving, which it is now. This is a heavy train, 9 wagons, these are loaded TEA, so you're holding 900 tons. Is about the limit for this train on this gradient that we're going to be coming up. In fact, this actually hits a really hard gradient coming out of Manchester, actually, that we are imminently going to hit up to a 2.2% gradient.
Could you remind me how do I move this here?
Yep, control 2, control 3.
Okay.
So
the other way around.
that's it, and then press 4 again. Control 4. That's it.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, folks, if you press control 2 and control 3, it toggles the in-world markers, and then control 4 cycles the stuff on the top right-hand side. What does the F light on the signal mean? They're normally route in fact, on the UK, pretty much it's just a route indicator. So it's just confirming which path you're going to be following.
Here comes the engine.
Oh yeah, you're going to need to pile the power on now. You will need to redline it as well, because you're on the steep gradient. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to do the next studio update, but we'll try and get one done as soon as I can. You are meant to keep the amps out of the orange tin, but because of this is such a short grade from a standing start, apparently it was not uncommon for them to be ramped up this hill into the red line, because it's only brief. It's not like it's only a couple of minutes, and then you're back out the red line again. Glad you're enjoying it, Hanani Sarah. It does sound pretty good. Throttles up, doesn't it, Schnauzer? Horn? Remember rightly, this 40 was recorded. We did the audio recordings on the East Lancs. Can't remember which 40 it was exactly, but
East Lancs, was it East Lancashire?
the East Lancs Railway.
Oh, okay.
The back horn switch actually sounds at the front. So there's technically 3 horn buttons on this thing. So you've got, and it's a horn facing backwards. Remember rightly, not a horn necessarily at the back. So you've got high and low tones, and then there's a switch on the dash there which sounds the horn facing the other way. Rear horn, probably for when the train was going to be reversing or something, but I am just guessing at that matter. I think it was 145 Lewin Darks, but don't hold me to that. Not too far until we're up off the bank now, and we're into we're heading for the corner up here. Just around where this bridge up here is, I think is roughly the top. Oh, it's almost finished downloading Price Gaming. Excellent. No tail lamp on the back of the wagons. I'll have someone have a look at that. I thought there was. Manic Pixie. So we talked to a wide variety of different people, signallers, drivers, and people who just have a general knowledge of the area. So we can't always get access to as much information as we like, and other times we get access to more information than we know what to do with. Will TSW eventually expand into other countries? I would hope so. TAs are missing tail lamps, are they? Oh, I'll make a note. I know when we go and do reference trips for things, the guys that go out on the reference trips, obviously they would have spent a day with this with the loco that we modelled and recorded, taking photographs, doing audio recordings, and they would have also spent a great deal of time talking to the driver who was with them at the time, finding all kinds of interesting things out. Now we get to can't get too much speed up now because it's the corner into Staley Bridge is where we hit 15, and then we need to give it the beans
again.
Oh, that's the big ramp then all the way up to Stanage Tunnel. Oh, okay, but you can, it's 8 miles away, so yes, there is a bit more you can speed up. Just be aware. How long does it take DTG team to model a new loco for the game? I should do so. I don't have some numbers for that. I'll see if I can put something together. It'll be interesting to understand. It's quite a lot of man days, man weeks even. Do we even say man days anymore? Work
So
days.
I think it's the first time I hear it in exactly this way, man days. It's kind of new to me. How many people do we have today? 254 most loyal fans watching our most favorite, most loyal fans watching us play, which is exactly what we need for a Friday afternoon.
Carl de Volmig asked a question that's just got off the top of the screen. That's lovely. Saying, why do you prefer big patches with lots of fixes over small but more frequent that fix only one or two things? The main reason, as Martin's just said on the chat, is down to the scale of testing that's required before the patch can go out, and also particularly putting patches out up on console is quite time consuming and requires a lot of coordination, and the coordination and the bit of actually how much work we do to make a patch might be this much, but the amount of work that goes into actually making that patch, getting it out to you all, and making sure that nothing's broken as much as we can, stays the same, even if we make this many changes or this many changes. So it's about, okay, if we're going to do an update, let's put as much as we can in that update.
So you prefer bigger updates?
Ideally, I'd like to get smaller updates out more frequently, but that's not practically achievable because of the timescales that are involved. So it's more a case that making sure that every time there is an update, we just try and put as much as we can in that update. Matt, is there a way to make sure the second loco also applies throttle when the first loco does, like the banking button RSN? So, Mohan, these locos implement Blue Star multi-heading, which is done electronically or pneumatically, perhaps. I don't know. Ed can confirm that. But the idea is that you won't see the throttle levers move. So the banking button on RSN simulates there being two drivers, one at the front and one at the back. Whereas Blue Star, there is nobody in the second loco, it's remote controlled from the first loco, and that's how this has been set up. So you are getting power and traction from the other one. I mean, if you look at how much this train struggles to get up, we're on notch 10 now, we're on full power, putting out 2200 amps, and we're on 41 miles per hour, and we are not speeding up. And you imagine that the double head services, there's two services in this which are what I've called the heavy oil services. Those are double headers with 18, with twice as many wagons, and you'll find that they can get up the hill. They struggle just as much, But obviously, if the second loco wasn't contributing any power to the party, then you would have no hope. So definitely you're getting power from both locos, but it's using this Blue Star system to do it. The same as the 37 does on Tees Valley. It does struggle, indeed, but then you're also running twice as many wagons that are all loaded, so that's 1,800 tons. Yes, it is a very heavy train, and this one is 9 wagons. So I'd expect that this 900-ton train to perform similarly to the 1,800-ton train, given that the double weight train has double the power on it. What graphics card are we running this on PDX, Mike? I must have
1070.
Oh, it's a 1070. There you go.
And 64 gig of RAM.
Yeah, 64 gig. We're not really using the 64 gig of RAM, but it's there and it's cool.
It's there. I think the CPU is 5870, something like that. Yeah, not very new.
Will you ever see Steam at TSW Armadar 1? Yes, at some point. Totally possible. We're just not there yet. Not because we can't, not because it's difficult particularly, just because there's a big long list of things to do. Rionix, so in Germany on MSB, that locomotive on the rear would have a driving and the controls. Would there be in constant communication by radio? Yes. So there's different types of ways of doing top and tail services. Normally, it's done with drivers in each of the locos, and yes, they would be in communication via radio, or they'd be listening out for what's going on. For example, horn or whistle in the case of steam engines, where the other driver is telling them what's going on. Because if we imagine back in steam days, they didn't have radios, so the driver in the lead loco would be using his whistle to inform the driver of the rear loco when now's the time to put power off, now's the time to put brakes on, and so forth, as well as their own local knowledge of, okay, I would guess the lead loco's going over the hill now, so I'm going to start acting on the power. But in America things are slightly different, where they have modern trains, they've got this thing called DPU, distributed power unit, and they're all done electronically via radio. So the rear, the two power car locos on the back of the train don't have engineers in them. They would be electronically linked up via a radio link to so that as the engineer at the front can then control the trains across the entire, all the locos in the thing from the front. But in the case of these, no, you'd have a driver in. If you had a top and tail, you'd have a driver in both. And the same for that banking service as well. Does your team consider when making content for TSW more work or passion? Not quite sure I understand the question, Matthew. Are you saying does everyone feel that it's just work, or are they actually passionate for it? I would say that the vast majority, if not everybody, are extremely passionate about what they do. Even if it's not necessarily a passion specifically for trains, it's a passion for creating great art, for creating great, physics, great sounds and so forth. So, but there are a lot of train enthusiasts on the team as well. But there are just a lot of really talented people that just have a lot of passion for everything they create. How many services total for the freight DLC on NTP? I can't remember, Stella. I think it's something in the order of about 15 for the Grand, maybe a bit more. Something in the order, probably another 20 or 30 for the Class 40 hauling oil tankers in both directions, and there's a lot of variation between them as well. We're just coming up to Staley Bridge now, are we? Yep. This is Staley Bridge. And then obviously you've also got the 45 and the 47 can do the new services, and the 40 can do some of the services that the 45 and 47 can do. So there's a lot of intermixing and replayability there as well. Go back and play some of the other services you've been playing before with the 40 and enjoy those differently. And similarly, once you've done the TEA tankers in the 40, try it with the 47 and see what a more powerful loco is like. Cayman says 25 new freight services, 11 Gronk, and 55 Class 40 services. There you go. What's a Gronk? Class 08 or Class 09 animal? There's nothing. There's no plans I can share about what the first Steam Loco is going to be, I'm afraid.
But did you guys see the new two Steam Locos from Smokebox, Idaho and Omaha? If you can't wait for TSW Steam Loco, just play TS19 first. Especially because they're very new.
Clonagel, so we're running the Restreamer chat client, so we're looking at chats coming in from YouTube, Twitch and Mixer. And we're streaming to all of those platforms as well. Hello everybody.
Hello.
I was totally on the roadmap, Amadar. I'm a huge Steam enthusiast.
I don't think there has been any stream where you haven't talked about Steam.
No, indeed. Can't quite apply more power yet, JP. Collectible over there on the left for those that are interested in collectibles. And the speed limit changes around the time we just after a little way into the tunnel. And then it's time to give it the beans up the hill.
Right now, or after the tunnel?
I think the speed limit changes a little way into the tunnel. The second loco should be showing Smoke Mohan. I just need to figure out what's going on there.
Unforeseen events.
Yeah, the random events thing's something that people ask for a lot. It's quite tricky to do though with trains, unlike other types of vehicles where if you get a random event you can just steer around it. Trains can't really do that. And what you don't, there you go, your speed's changed. Oh, here we go.
And you will probably need a special mode for it, right? I mean, you can't really combine these things together. Some people just want to play service mode without having any random events.
So Amarillen's just talking about Moggy, because FabDiva said, well, then he said to Amar said to FabDiva, depends on how many ice lollies they fed him. And then he said, I can say things like that here because he can't see it. Just passing that on to you, Moggy. Yeah, no problem there, Amar, you're welcome. We're making headway, we're speeding up. It's not on a rush though. This headlighting option, yeah, there's those four piddly little things on the front of the headlights. They don't really light up the ground in front of you at all. It's almost like having half blown out candles.
Which is another dangerous thing about British trains, apart from just signalling and just shunting around the yard without any signals.
So there's no there's little point actually having the high-speed those lights because there's no way you'd even be able to use them. If you saw something, you'd never be able to stop in time for it. I think that's kind of why it wasn't seen as that important. These days, in our modern world, they've got super bright lights, which helps the driver see more, but also makes them a lot more visible to everybody else. Which is helpful because these days trains don't really make much noise compared to things like this.
Question: why were 40s called whistlers? That's a good question, isn't it?
It's because of the sound they make, Big Bessie Blue. It's because of the sound that whistles.
That sound.
Most names and nicknames of trains are because of the sound they make. So Gronk is because of the sound it makes. Growler is the other nickname for a Class 37, again because of the sound it makes. Oh, an underground line would be fantastic, Southern Vale. It's it would probably be quite resource intensive because it would all be 100% baked lighting, so it would look spectacular. But the baked lighting uses a lot more memory. But no, it's definitely an interesting. It's a completely different type of route to build as well.
I think we need to wrap up with this thing and move on to this thing.
Go for it.
Yeah, guys, we have another thing we wanted to play on the stream to use the remaining half an hour. We wanted to show you a little bit of end line in TS19, and this is something that we wanted to do simply because it came out yesterday, and we would really like to show it. It's a pretty beautiful route. There's been a lot of effort has been put into it, so why not?
Just switch it to
we never warned you about this, so yeah. Obviously, it's a sudden change, but we're hoping you will be fine. And luckily, there will be Matt driving, and I'll be reading the chat. Hope you enjoy my driving.
Luckily.
In TSW, but we're moving on to TS19. We don't really do streams very often, so yeah, we're trying to use every opportunity. And by the way, next stream will be on next Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Very soon, less than a week ago. And yeah, highly suggest that you take a note and join it. It will be the anniversary stream. So it will be a bit different. It will be a stream dedicated to 10-year anniversary of Train Simulator. So we're gonna try and come up with something interesting.
Why Wednesday? Because isn't that...
Because that's the day
that
when Train
the
Simulator actually turns 10 years old.
Yep.
Railworks was the first version, and yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Will there be cake and party hats? They said yes, but I think the cake is a lie.
Alright, we're almost in. So, how are you finding, Matt? Is it more comfortable to have chat?
Oh yeah, much better running on
yeah.
there because I have to keep scrolling
Yeah.
it down and it doesn't bother you in the slightest.
So it's still, even on a different machine, it still does this thing with please refresh, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it's easy to fix.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just waiting for the game to load.
Yeah.
Someone got the Portal reference. Excellent. Oh, a few of you got the Portal reference. Yeah, don't forget, folks, tomorrow at Crew, Diesel Depot in the UK, there's an open day that's sold out, so if you haven't got a ticket, it's too late now. But if you are going and you spot me, come and say hello. I'm going to be walking around. Dovetail don't have an official presence there. I'm just going to be walking around. But yeah, do say hello
So
if
Matt,
you spot me.
Since you haven't touched this, what's your preference, GP38 or GP42?
I don't mind either. They're very similar locos, to be honest.
The choice is obvious. So first of all, before we change our positions, good luck. Yeah, we're back in, aren't we? Live game. Guys, don't forget to sign up on Dovetail Live, where we have a new community challenge going on right now for services. What happened there? Yeah, they're I think it's the way we swapped quickly. Yeah, so make sure you sign up so you can get. So you can take part in the community challenge, and yeah, so we're doing services this time. Scenarios for our third community challenge. I think the rewards are relatively cool, so we're really keen to see how you perform. I think we're doing quite well already. So yeah, let's focus on the route we're playing. So this is the end line. Any questions right away? Has any one of you actually tried this yet? So we would be very interested to know if you have. We definitely want to do a little bit more promotions for our TS19 content, as we're, from my point of view, a little bit too focused on TSW. Someone says they cannot hear anything.
Oh, they can't see anything either.
Oh, okay.
We haven't changed the game.
Right, okay. We
should
haven't
change the
changed the
game.
game, yeah. Train simulator, yeah, there is. Sorry, guys.
Hey!
Yay! Much better.
Right. You should be able to hear the game, though. Yeah, you can.
Can you?
Can you see now? I think you're all asking too much, personally. Before we get going, let's have a quick look at the map. So this is Salisbury up here, and there is the museum here. And then that's the main line coming across here, and then this is the N line. This is the Norfolk Southern N line, which then heads down here. Now this is also known as the Yadkin branch, remember rightly. There's little bits of industries and sidings all the way down the line until you end up down here at New London. So it's a wiggly, windy branch line. Put the instrument lights on. Where are we going? Rockcott siding.
Honk the hoop.
So one thing I know that's that the team have done a lot on this is they've done quite a lot of work overhauling the physics on the brakes, on the wagons and on the locos. So you should find them behaving probably scarily realistic, because you'll find the train brakes don't apply quite as quickly as you might be used to.
No plans for studio update yet, big dogs. So no studio update yet. CJ Dipper. Oh, I love switching industries. Yep, this one's very much about it.
What's up?
Wonder why the rear ditch lights are on despite going forward.
I think it's on both sides. It's interesting. I may have pressed the wrong button. I don't know.
Awesome.
This is literally the first time I've played this add-on.
Quick update on the anniversary giveaway. So that there was a giveaway, and where we asked for codes and quotes from you guys, and we have chosen the quotes that we wanted, and we've gotten in touch with the winners. We had 8 winners. 4 people came back to us. So they have given us the route that they wanted, and we are yet to hear from 4 more people. We're gonna post a message on Facebook shortly, I think within a couple of days, asking those who haven't responded to get in touch with us. So there were 2 people on Facebook that had their private messages closed, so I couldn't get reach to them. Another 2 just didn't answer. All the rest answered, and oh, that's a nice shot. That looks nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna post a message in a couple of days asking for those who really to come forward to us, and we're really keen to hear from you. But it is over, and we're gonna have another smaller giveaways next week. So related to the anniversary, there won't be any routes, but some merchandise basically. So so yeah, watch this space. But yeah, that giveaway has ended. We're gonna give an announcement as soon as we hear from all our winners. But thank you very much for everyone who took part. We've collected over 300 or 400 quotes. So
well done.
Yeah, it was very happy, very happy. Some very funny ones. There are a couple that quite funny that we took. And then yeah, we're gonna use it and make a really nice cool video. Thank you very much, guys. I don't think, out of my head right now, we don't really have any other giveaways or anything like that planned, and no sales right now going. So yeah, we're just chilling and getting everything ready. How are you finding it, Matt, so far?
Very nice, very nice. Wagons feel very heavy.
Did the survey close, and did the people get drawn for the free DLC? As I said, yes, the survey was closed, but it wasn't really a survey. It was just leave a comment on the Facebook post, and we'll choose winners. So it's not a survey really. But yeah, we collected all awards that were there, and we chose winners. So we were running out of time a little bit, so we had to do it as soon as we could.
You can't hear anything, Katso. Can everybody else hear the audio of the train okay? Someone said nice 14L, so I'm assuming you can hear the audio. One of the other things, by the way, that I want to call out really specifically, there's a lot of really cool things about this route, but one thing I really want to call out is the trees and the foliage. The art team took the opportunity to create a lot of brand new foliage on this route that is different. It's really great in different seasons. Absolutely gorgeous trees and so forth, and there's lots of varieties of brand new assets and so forth, which I think really helps make this route stand out.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. Tintin, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, so that survey, I'm not sure. I actually haven't thought about it for a long time, and no one told me anything about it. I do assume that people were contacted because we were collecting contact details, so I would assume they were contacted. Just in case, I'll check on Monday. Yeah, I'll check just in case.
We're using the same microphone. I'm just a bit further away from it than I was before.
Can I get a little bit closer?
Hello.
Not that close. I'm scrolling up a little bit. There was a question from Gas Becker, so he's asking, do you guys have any dates on when third-party content might be coming to TSW? Obviously, this is not... I'm not going to have a direct answer, but we do have all the people working on the existing content in TSW right now, right? Creating models, for example.
I think might be one this year.
Okay.
There are definitely third parties, a number of them that have access to the tools and are starting to learn how to use them. So
this is not TSW, guys. Yes, we used the last half an hour of our stream to showcase our latest TS19 route, first class route. So this is the Norfolk Southern N line. It was released yesterday, so we just wanted to give you a chance because we don't have that many streams, so we have quite a lot of content going out. So we need to use this time a little bit, guys.
Someone asked earlier on, was this route built in-house? Yes, it was. It was the internal team that built this one. And someone else asked about how you move the camera in free roam. So you press the 8 key to get to free roam. At that point, if you hold the right mouse button down and and move the mouse around. You can change where you're looking. You use the cursor keys, forwards, backwards, left and right. So you find you can use them in combination with each other, and then use the right arrow key to flip over here. If you then press the shift key, then you'll speed up where you're flying. And then as another tip, if you, let me turn around over here, if you go up above a certain height, you go a lot faster. So you can cover great distances very easily, or get in front of a high-speed train. So let me just get back to my train over here. So it's got a problem out.
Where is the Yorkshire route? What is Yorkshire?
Yorkshire.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming they meant Yorkshire. You just played one. Sella 1A, I don't think will answer this question. I apologize if I didn't pronounce it. You will need to be properly.
Thernius, can you see the museum? I think
should have.
Yeah, it's where we started. Yeah, we just fly back. Oh, I can't get to the museum. Use a mouse wheel. There's the museum. There is tracks up there, and you can put all trains in there and create some really quite nice scenes. Actually, there's a turntable there.
Really cool. Amtrak Switcher stream will be when Amtrak Switcher is released. When exactly, I cannot tell you. It's a big secret.
Oh, they'll be all talking about secrets on the forums there. Can't say that.
Does the turntable work? I don't think we know.
I don't know. No. Just pretend that didn't happen. As you can see, though, lots of different variety of the trees. Ignore the cars. Just look at the trees.
And they do change with seasons.
Yeah, they've got seasonal foliage as well. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, this is the first time I've actually looked at this route myself. I've been looking forward to this stream just because it means I get to play with the route. So yeah, I don't know the answer to the turntable thing, but probably soon find out at some point. Well, you joke about that manic pixie dream, but that is kind of what happens. There are people in the company that quite rightly get very excited over different types of brickwork. And for anyone that wondered,
Diesel, I like it. I like a lot better than these trees and passages and houses look really, really nice.
yeah, for anyone who wondered why we were wrong line running just there, this is why, because this is the entry to the branch. TSW1973 says, yes, it's a working turntable. There you go. An answer then, folks.
We wanted to show you this, but we haven't touched this too much. But just in case for those people who wanted to have a look and never saw it on YouTube. Wait, did I say that it came out? It was released yesterday when it was released today? I'm completely. Oh, wow! I can't believe I confused that. It was released today.
Yeah, one of the features of this line being a rickety old branch line is that it's quite bumpy. You'll notice in the cab you can, so at times you'll see it bouncing around quite a bit. And yes, that is coming to TSW at some point.
Deliveries be done as a convenience shop.
It's on the list of things we're looking at.
No promises. As of now.
Can you, when you run a red signal in TSW, can you make it so the game won't end? No. Bluntly. The game can't handle with what happens after a red light, because in reality what happens after a red light is complicated and requires people.
Good luck.
And derailments are not what we're about.
Yes, Ewan Docs says, I'm off to play TSW. I'm super stoked to get the freight back as I'm a free driver.
Nice.
All the best, and hope you enjoy.
Steep old hill up here.
You guys are good at running trains. It's probably from that.
It's for you as well.
Forward to make custom names. That would be great. They do look great into the cover.
Oh look, the drivers here are well behaved. Look at that.
That looks really nice. Man, the detail they put in here. That's an interesting position. Camera position. I think a big feature that DTG need to fix is to model in-game toilets. I absolutely agree. After all, it's train sim world, isn't it? In-game toilets.
Great, to come down, calm off the engines.
Is it just so root rice ginger YouTube is asking, is it you still have to upgrade if you bought Great Western Railway pack? I'm sure you're asking a legit question. If you could just rephrase it. How long to model the route of the container train that went from China to England? Probably forever.
Yeah, about 10,000 miles, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'll be a while. There are no narrow gauge routes at the moment in TSW Jacquemus. There are one or two, I think, in TS19. The Chorus, for example.
Right, guys, stop talking about toilets and dog food. It's a serious stream. Is so nice, yes, we completely agree. It's also very new. Honest question, how do you guys go about the licensing and modeling between TSW and TS20? Different process, same?
Licensing's the same, but that's just legal people talking to each other. That completely underplays how much work goes on involved in that, but summarising. Modelling is a similar process. There's more depth to it on TSW that has to be gone into. There's like complete interiors that have to be modelled. And then there's also a level of consistency in terms of how you start trains up and so forth. So that means we sometimes need to model a machine room, which you just wouldn't do on this. And because you can get up and walk around, here I am stuck in this perspective, or I can go into this perspective, or I've got these fixed perspectives. So you can model to make those perspectives look good, whereas in TSW you can walk around in first person, so I can go anywhere. And therefore all those things. And you have to also think about how you're going to get on and off the train and make sure the steps all work properly, and make sure you can walk up and down here without being ejected off the side, or all these strange gamey things that happen when you put things into the game. But there is a lot of similarity in terms of the overall process. It's the detail where things differ, and there's just more of it.
What route is it? Is it? It's a Norfolk Southern Denmark. It's a new route that came out just today.
If you want to Google it, you might find that N-line doesn't give you many results, but if you look for the Yadkin branch, Yadkin, then you'll find more details of it. Certainly from back in the older days before New Norfolk Southern.
I bought the game when it was in early access and only the Great Western Railway was out. When you bought it, do you still need to buy the upgrade pack on Xbox One, or does it just come like that? That's a good question.
So if you bought Founders Edition on Xbox, then you would need to buy the update to get the full retail edition with the other routes. If you were to buy it now, it would have the new routes in all the routes in there. I think there still is an upgrade deal. I don't know if that's still in place, but if you check, I believe there's an upgrade deal that lets you upgrade the Founders Edition to the full edition.
Yeah, the problem is it says he's on Xbox One, which I'm not sure.
That's where Founders Edition was. Yeah, that's the only time we've had GWB in that situation.
Can't hear anything. Should be desktop audio is definitely playing, so. Because the trees play such an important role in this route, because they're everywhere around you. I think it's the work that the team have done to create all new tree assets really sets it apart from the routes. Yeah, this is our biggest scare if sound doesn't work for some reason. but luckily everything's fine. Yeah, how are we getting on, guys? It's half 7 in our small but strong country. It's start wrapping up, guys. Yep, so we showed you the heavy freight. Just to recap, we did 2 services, one on class 08 Gronk and one on class 40 Whistler. So I drove quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen. We try not to go into things like scenarios on streams, just to make sure that we give you know this pleasure to you, leave it for you when you actually get to play it. We try just do something more basic rather than going through the scenarios. Although the very first scenario in this DLC, I absolutely love it. The way I think it's only class 40, and you have to go downhill basically for quite a while, and I found it really challenging and super cool. And it it's a combination of both classes, class 08 and class 40. I think first of all you have to shunt a little bit, a couple of wagons, and then use class 40 to get them somewhere, to Huddersfield, I think. Yeah, so this is where we are right now, guys. I don't know much to say. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Thank you, Gaspacker. I really appreciate your comments about driving.
You're on the list, Gaspacker.
Yes. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Really hope you enjoyed the stream. Just to remind you, you can still get, if you don't have Northern Trans-Pennine route, you can still get it as a bundle on Steam with the heavy freight and get a 20% off. Other than that, just keep your eyes on our social media. We're gonna have some fun things for next week as we are approaching our 10-year anniversary. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see you next time on Wednesday, and after that, obviously this will we'll let you know a bit later. Thank you very much for coming, Matt.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here for the whole 1.5 hours when you're really busy. So thank you very much, guys, and all the best. Yeah, have a great weekend.
Cheers, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.